interruption, but it's fascinating.
All right. Is requesting to record. Frank wants to record too. I'll let Frank record as well.
So, Bruce?
All right. So, like I was saying before, I was given a book, Necronomicon, and this is when these strange things started to happen. I was given the book by a Mason. You know, he was instructed to give me the book, I imagine. And you know, he later went on to work for a nuclear power plant in Waco, Texas. That's where he's working at now. His name's Stephen Mendez. And he would even talk to me about the spelling of his name and the relationship to the goat of Mendez and all this stuff, his family history. But these are things that I realized after being given that book and having the experiences that I had and becoming aware of these alleged covert programs. And one of the things that really made a big connection for me was when I became aware of the observatory in my hometown. This observatory was built on top of the prisoner of war camp, the Nazi prisoner of war camp that was in my hometown, Huntsville, Texas. This land was acquired from my friend's grandfather, my friend Hunter Smith. I'm trying to remember his grandfather's last name, but I mean, his last name was Hunter. My friend Hunter, his first name came from his grandfather's last name. He was one of the founders. Like, Huntsville was old Cincinnati before it was Huntsville, Texas.
Huntsville, like Hunter?
Yes.
So the family had something to do, was very important in the town as well.
Yes. Like, his great grandfather was like the first Mason to move into Huntsville, Texas. And this is back when Huntsville was still being, you know, it was still being decided where the capital of Texas was going to be. And Huntsville was one of the places that the capital was going to be. But fast forward to World War II, we had one of the first Nazi prisoner of war camps in Huntsville, Texas. And my friend's grandfather has recorded in his journal how he used to spy. He would go out in his deer stand and spy on the Nazi prisoner of war camp because he's like, hey, the government just came and took my land. I get to know what they're doing out there on my property. It's my right, you know. So in his journal, he had written down that our military officers would be out there with the Nazi prisoners of war. And the prisoners of war would be pointing up at the sky, and the officers are writing on clipboards what they're being told. After the war was over, they didn't give the land back to my friend's family. They didn't even, and these were cattlemen, you know, that was important to them. That they didn't even get the option to buy the land back or anything. The land was given to Sam Houston State University, and that university built Sam Houston State Observatory out there. And me and my friend would often be out there, you know, on the deer lease and the cattle range and stuff. And we would see, you know, orbs. Like, it was frequent. It was so frequent that it kind of had my friend obsessed with it, you know, and he got off deep into the flat earth theory and stuff because that was where a lot of information was available at the time. And he's still kind of stuck in that mode, but he could get you his grandfather's journal. Like, he has this stuff. And his name's Hunter Smith. He's a cool guy. But a lot of the people in that town, you can see on the webpage that talks about the prisoner of war camp, it even states in there that people in the town maintained relationships with the Nazi prisoners of war that went through the re-education camps, and some of them went on to work in various places through the Operation Paperclip program, which one of my friends, Alex Thornton, his grandparents came over through Operation Paperclip. His dad, Robert Thornton, is an FBI agent. And his dad was big on ESP and stuff. He had the Spider-Man's license plate, you know, all this stuff. He was a cool guy. But these were my friends. And I feel like they knew about what I was experiencing. I feel like they may know more about these programs and stuff. And I have mixed feelings about it because I know, you know, people want answers. People would maybe want to like prosecute them and stuff. But what I feel is they had something that they didn't want to really mess with. And I displayed, you know, this rebellious nature of, you know, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And I am not scared to try different things. And I believe that's why the book was given to me. I believe that the stuff that I experienced was manufactured by people, humans. There would be things that I never even told, you know, psychiatrist or therapist or anything. When I would be asked, you know, do you ever hear anything? I would intentionally not answer because I figured they was also working with these programs. And I didn't want to even acknowledge the things that would come over my radio because I noticed I would only hear these odd things when there was an electronic device around. If I was by myself, there was nothing. You know, the most I would hear by myself is like somebody saying my name. But it was always through a radio or something like that. And there's been so many other accounts where people have talked about these things happening, talked about things being moved around in their house. I would have books that I would be researching, and there would be newspaper articles. This is one of the things when I was dealing with people that were pretty much deep undercover working the compounds for the Aryan Brotherhood, trying to keep tabs on them. I did not feel that these people were not pro white supremacy until I got out of the situation, really got to thinking about it. And I was like, man, you know, one of these people did leave a newspaper article in my book about, you know, the Hispanic culture and stuff. You know, there was answers to questions that I had. And then that's one thing I remember about my friend, Robert Thornton. His wife was Hispanic. His kids were half Hispanic, you know. Alex was not that his son Alex that I had a lot of dealings with was not, but when his dad remarried and had more kids, you know, so the question of whether or not he was a white supremacist was put out. You know, I knew that he wasn't, and he was over all the murder cases in Walker County as well. But I'm trying to imagine now, with his knowledge of what I may have experienced, the things that were manufactured, you know, made to look like some kind of extraterrestrial encounters or some kind of mystical stuff. It's the difference between what they may have been observing and what they may have manufactured themselves. Because I did notice things that aligned with H.P. Lovecraft's book. You know, and I didn't study anything in the back of the Necronomicon. I only studied the 50 Seals of Marduk. And it was just weird to me. In the front of the book, it tells you this is a book of fiction. There is a actual, you know, historical account for all of these things where this fiction, you know, derived from, but not to try any of these ceremonies and all these things because it's a book of fiction. I think it was a perfect playground for somebody that had already been diagnosed with bipolar manic depression. You know, it's just perfect. You have the American Psychological Association gaslighting people into believing that they don't have psychic abilities because they know of instances where people with real abilities have done bad things, and they know not everybody can be trusted with it. And I understand that, and I give them, you know, a pass for what they've been doing. I don't blame them for suppressing, you know, the majority of people's abilities, you know, through medication. Though these are things that will be known in the future if the disclosure process goes well. It's already known to certain people, I'm sure. But as far as how much they know about ETs and their relationships with them, that's what we need to find out through this disclosure process. Because if relationships already exist, like some people suggest, these are the things that we need to know to what extent and why. Because when you hear accounts like Michael Herrera, I believe his name was, with Stephen Greer, because me and Lauren and I were both at the historical conference in DC, the Disclosure Conference with Stephen Greer. Daniel Sheehan was there. I didn't know that, you know, what speaking terms they were on at the time. I found that out later from Pat, but that's going to get better too. I have a feeling it's going to get better. Daniel's handling it like a champ. I know Richard Dolan still supports Greer and a lot of people in his network. So I see these relationships mending. And I feel that when Lou Elizondo gets to a place to where he can really open up, he's going to let a lot of things be known. And we're going to get closer to this understanding. One thing that I don't believe that they have mastered that I experienced was this entity of light, this body of light that I encountered. If that was something that human beings had the ability to do, that would be the great case for a staged, you know, a return of Christ type scenario. Now, this entity I encountered, you know, I don't feel like that, you know, it didn't communicate with me at all. And if it attempted to, I just wasn't able to receive any communications. There was something that happened, you know, a couple of months later that was very interesting. It was like precognition. And there was a place where people using like telekinesis could transmute matter. One of the things I remember thinking about was that movie What Dreams May Come, when you had Cuban Gooding Jr. and Robin Williams in this scene where he's explaining, where Cuban Gooding Jr. is explaining to Robin Williams how you can pretty much make, you know, this is like a dream world. You can pretty much make it whatever you want. And that's what it seemed like in this place that I saw while I was awake, tears streaming down my face because I'm like, this is wild. What is this? But I understand the skepticism when it comes to people explaining psychic phenomenon. For me, for somebody that has not had any kind of audible communications, even like how we can hear our own inner monologue, I'm looking to develop that ability, you know, because I guess it just maybe doesn't come natural to me. Or maybe I have tuned it out so much because I know about the actual interference that I've experienced due to psychological warfare tactics, possibly. That's my biggest guess about the things I experienced. Because even down in Florida, when I was dealing with this rapper, Rick Ross, and these guys were wanting me to join, it's like that group of people even use the same tactics through the radio, you know? And it's like they would just repeat things. I did have an instance where my stepsister was present, and she was driving the car, and over the radio, it was a church station. And it's the same voice of the people that normally host the station. A great voice actor could pull it off. An AI generated voice machine could pull it off. But you heard these people say, "Hell Satan." Now, when you have these programs going on and you have people that are extreme skeptics, and they're looking at people, they're studying people that have these abilities, or maybe they're not wanting people to tap into these abilities because they know it's real, and you know how to scramble somebody's mind, to jumble them up, to trip them up, to make them less credible, then you're going to employ those tactics. If they are able to know things that you don't want them to know, or if they have experienced things you don't want people to know exist, and you want to discredit a person, all of these things will be found out. And once we get past these certain hurdles with disclosure, that's when I feel like more people will be receptive to true psychic phenomenon. It can be proven. Third Eye Spies with Russell Targ, you know, uh, all these things, the references to Hal Puthoff and the Stargate project, all these things exist. The Gateway experiments, the Monroe Institute, not a lot of people are familiar with it, but it exists. And more is going to come out around these things. It's coming out now, great. But I have a lot of friends in the transhumanist community that are true materialists, and they do not want to, they feel like it's a waste of energy to even think about these things because they can't get their hands on it, to put it under a microscope, to take it to a lab and test it. And we will get to that point. I know what I experienced. I have no way of knowing how anybody would ever be able to sample it or to get it to it. You would have to get its participation to be able to examine it. And that's what I'm looking to do through figuring out how to make contact and to do it successfully. I know that Dr. Stephen Greer has mentioned random encounters. The encounter that I had, I really don't feel it was random. I feel it was either manufactured by humans with technology, or it was an actual non-human intelligence. And that's what I'm leaning more to, because if humans had this ability, there would not, there, it wouldn't matter what people said. If somebody said, "Hey, there's a hoax, extraterrestrial invasion," it wouldn't matter, because they could use that same stuff that I've encountered if they were in possession of it, and they could follow through with it, and nobody would have a choice but to believe them. So I believe it's a non-human intelligence, and it was pleasant. And I just can't wait to find out what it actually was and us actually have proof. That's going to be great. And I believe that there are people that can find out more than I've been able to find out. I believe that there's things that I need to do to prepare for that encounter, and I'm willing to do them. And that's what I'm excited about, is finding other people that are either there or willing to get there and looking to be and do what needs to be done. Yeah, that's pretty much all.
Thank you for your story, Bruce. I'm here actually in San Antonio, Texas. So we need to talk some more about what's going on here in Texas.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't realize that Huntsville was old Cincinnati.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I found out. I didn't find out until I was 22 years old.
Yeah, my cousin's Neil Armstrong. And yeah, so there's a whole bunch of stuff in terms of, and I also met Mitchell. And your story really is quite truthful, and I really I've been listening here this for quite some time, and I thought Frank had some good questions there, some good comments. You know, again, the whole issue of empirical evidence is I think is vital, but it may be somewhere in between. And I think, you know, a lot of the cover up or what's going on in terms of the national security state, they just don't know what the hell's going on. They don't understand this phenomena, and I think the cover up comes from their ignorance, but they're fearful to say we don't understand this phenomena, and so they get defensive and they go to protect themselves with that. The speaker yesterday or the day before, who was the guy that had the 2.4 from West Point, I always remember that. I think he described the situation quite well. As so, but thank you.
What do you mean by what's going on in Texas?
Oh, just there's a lot of sightings going on in Texas. Plus, we're going to be having this huge eclipse coming through. There's millions of people coming in, and on the 8th of, but that's going to go whole, you know, that's all the way, not only Texas. I mean, it's coming out of Mexico up through Indianapolis, Ohio, Vermont. It's a huge.
New England.
Yeah, New England. Yeah. So, and as I recall, when there was an eclipse in Mexico City, there was observations of quite a few craft at the time. Yeah, Jaime Maussan had looked at and documented that. But so no, we're in transitional times.
Where is the cross of the eclipse in 2017 and this current one? Is it Arizona or is it Texas? It's Texas.
Texas. We had one in October. I'm located. I'm being this doesn't sound right. I'm being double crossed by the eclipse where I'm living. So,
yeah, you've got to watch it then.
Oh no. I would take it as beneficial, beneficent. Yeah. Stan, thank you for everything that you've been doing, and it was good to hear the history, get some of the background of all of this. And Bruce, he's disappeared there. There he is. I like your hug there with Jim. But anyways, I'm about to head down to Goliad, down and go out to my son-in-law's ranch where he has a herd of buffalo. So, but
I just have one final question there with what Bruce has been saying and what you just said. Huntsville is old Cincinnati. I'm sorry, my geography is not the greatest. What do you mean by that?
Well, there were a lot of German immigrants that came over in the 19th century. Many of them came to Cincinnati down the Ohio River. They came in through Baltimore Airport, or not airport, Baltimore Harbor. And then they went over and came down and helped establish Cincinnati. And then a lot of them immigrated from Ohio further down into Texas. A lot of German communities. In fact, in San Antonio.
Ohio has a lot. Has a lot of German.
This was all.
Great grandmother was Maud. I just remember her maiden name though.
Yeah.
Maud Lawless, their married name.
Yeah. Of course, Fredericksburg and Kerrville and Bernie, these are cities in the Texas Hill, or towns in the Texas Hill Country. That's all going to be right in the middle of the eclipse. And San Antonio itself, the first city charter was all written in German. So there, and there's a whole other But that, again, we always, when somebody, World War I, World War II, I can look at a larger context of German history in America. But anyway, so this was.
Yes, they say that in fact it was only by a few votes that the Constitution was written in English and not in German.
Yeah, yeah. Are you in Germany?
Yeah,
Where in Germany?
Düsseldorf.
Dusseldorf. Okay. Yeah, I've been in Stuttgart quite a bit, and also to Bad Borishofen. I know Germany quite well. My ancestors are originally, well, Neil Armstrong, we came from a little town called Lautwergen, which is up near Munster.
Okay.
It's up in Munster area. They would have
Well,
left.
my husband comes from basically northern Germany, Celle. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
To the west of, to the east of Hamburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they would have deported out of Bremerhaven. Bremerhaven to Baltimore, then Baltimore over to Pittsburgh, and then down the Ohio to Cincinnati.
Okay.
And then my ancestors helped build the canals, the canals, and of course Walpock, Canada. That's where Neil's farm. He was born about 2 miles from my grandfather's farm in New Knoxville. Anyway, but Huntsville, yeah, that's good to know about. I didn't realize, but so we'll connect.
Thank you. It's lovely to hear you. Yes.
Thank you. Blessings.
Blessings.
And yes, happy Easter.
Yeah.
I think actually I totally agree with you, Bruce. I think really disclosure, if we see it in the context of resurrection, because I think it will be it's a subtle body experience. So, but how do we continue our conversation, Bruce?
And if you continue it, I'd love to hear it.
I think you should copy us all in every time.
Yeah. Let me, I'll put my email in the chat and you can give me a shout out.
So we send you all our emails so that we can be included?
No. Okay, sure.
We'll just be copied, nothing more.
Okay. Let me see where it is here. Okay.
There's Bruce.
There, I see. There's Bruce. Good. Okay. Okay.
Are you in New York City, Bruce?
Yes. Currently in New York. I'm looking at a place in Philadelphia. I haven't seen the places here that would accept my voucher yet. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to decide now, if to stay here in New York or to go to Philly. And I know Stanley's in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I'd have somebody there that's working on this stuff. I think that would.
Are you actually in Manhattan or are you outside?
I'm almost in Bell Harbor. I'm in Rockaway Park. But this place where I'm at, this facility, is Bell Harbor Manor. I'm here getting physical therapy done on my back. My back's getting a lot better. So now it's time for me to start losing weight and, get back to work. Yeah. So doing as much volunteering as much as I can. I maybe have too many irons in the fire right now. I have to prep for a show on the 3rd. And I have to submit my summary before the end of the day. But it's all going to be about this, humanity rising. That's why I told them, I said, man, I want to finish that course. I want to take this course and finish it first. And they were like, no, you're ready. Because they're the omnifuturists, and we have people from the Transhumanist Party that are involved. And you also have people that are, very skeptical and worried about transhumanists that are part of the omnifuturists. So it's going to be an interesting talk, especially when we're covering non-human intelligences. But the things I feel about the non-human intelligences is, they're very technologically advanced.
Yeah. But this is even beyond transhumanism. I think it's meta transhumanism.
That's what I want to get our his materialist friends to wrap their head around, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Hey, dude, we can go ahead and, skip all the wondering and stuff and let's go to the source, especially. Yeah.
Soul.
Yes.
The source of soul.
Yes.
Blessings. Ciao.
Fascinating. Gosh. We've
Yeah,
had
that
some
was
interesting
unexpected.
ones this week, Stan. We've had some very interesting
Yeah,
conversations.
we have a very interesting guy. I mean, Neil Armstrong's cousin.
Very.
That's fun.
Yeah. We've had last night, and we had the other one with the thing in the forest. So it's almost like it's all together at this time going forward. It's becoming more relevant.
I thought Neil Armstrong was of Scottish heritage, but was there a connection? What's his the German background?
You said he
know.
was in Munster in Germany.
Well, no, J. Paul knows that area, but he didn't say Armstrong was, I didn't think.
I thought he said that. I wrote it down as he was saying, but well, we
No,
could-
because you've got a mother and a father, so maybe one came from Germany and the other one came from
Yeah.
Scotland.
maybe they were from Scotland originally. You never know, do you?
I know
I happened to meet Neil Armstrong in Scotland. I think it was at Edinburgh when I was
Oh.
traveling there in 1971. It was a reunion. He was sponsored by the Armstrong clan. I happened to be
Oh.
there as an American. I just introduced myself as Italian American. I just showed up in the crowd and had a chance to meet him, shake his hand, and see that he was really a human, flesh and blood.
Maybe Neil Armstrong's great grandfather came to Scotland. You see, so
Yeah,
that could be the case. That's what happened with my grandfather's side. The last name
Okay.
Lawless, they were actually left Scotland and moved to Germany. And the last name Lawless, that surname, was because they were, lawless Scots. That's why they wound up in Germany.
Gosh.
Kind of some.
my name Tedesco means German in Italian.
Oh, well, these little German connections then, yes.
Over here, we just got Scandinavian and British on mine.
That's okay. British, where
Typical
from? Where from in
Typical
Britain?
white stuff going on with my family. Line and heritage. Anyway,
So where are you, Lauren? We don't really know much about you.
I'm originally from Washington State,
Mm-hmm.
and I presently reside in Spartanburg, South Carolina,
Okay.
Greenville area.
With a South Carolina
Is that
accent.
Huh?
Mm.
You said South Carolina like
Yeah.
the natives might say it. Yes.
Y'all and so forth. So on. So on. Southern Belle. So, but yeah, I'm sure I'm picked up the ways by now as I've lived here. I think lived here 2 years, lived here in Charleston, got a place in Charleston, still selling for I lived there 5 years, I think it was. And my husband passed on there and I moved here.
Shame, yeah.
So that's just a little bit about my background, I suppose. I kind of found myself in through all of this, my connection started with the near-death experiences after my husband died, and looked at those into a lot of depth. Before that, I was a coordinator with the Zeitgeist movement, the resource-based economy. I can tell you one thing, extraterrestrials do not use money.
You don't need it.
all of the myriad, no, more like infinite problems it causes. you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think one thing extraterrestrials would certainly be telling us to do is to, start to move away from that kind of a, whatever that created that mentality, that scarcity mentality in the first place. That ain't got nothing to do.
It was the King of England, who
out
it was
there.
the king. It was the King of England, Lauren,
Uh-huh.
who started collecting taxes, and they didn't have money or banks before that in our country, England, or the whole of Britain. And that's where the money started. Before that, it was a barter system, and I think that's what we need to go back to, helping each other in that way.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we've moved much beyond that sort of technology, and probably up to where we're, more co-creating kind of our own reality. It, like Bruce was touching on, in terms of, we come up to that kind of an evolutionary place of advancement. I would think that we'll be using more consciousness integrated with machines, and to where we're able to, steer crafts the way that our reverse engineered crafts are right now. These kinds of things, I mean, we're just all, we're still finding out about it, of course. But I think if we could have a conversation about that advanced technology, it's so advanced that we're not going to need money. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Exactly. I think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's good to it's good to entertain those thoughts, because that it will be the next step of those things would have, will be evident in the near future, as disclosure is becoming our new reality. And that, kind of does lead me all the way back to where we started from here with the New Paradigm Institute, because that is the thoughts and that new reality is what's beginning to manifest. And New Paradigm Institute is, so that's why, I feel strongly about that. Because, we begin to integrate that whole way of being, that whole way of thinking, new way of thinking, into our schools and into society at large.
Yeah.
So
we have to accept it.
Another way of saying, yep, we're for the New Paradigm Institute. So.
It's already here. It's already
Yes,
developed.
have you heard me
here.
talk about the age of helpfulness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kennedy,
Lauren,
right? This is
Lauren, have you heard me talk about the age of helpfulness?
Yes, thank you. No, go ahead. Sorry, I'm being.
Well, I mean, there's not much to say. I think that we're on the verge of not the age of Aquarius, as the song goes, but the age of helpfulness. And as we learn how to take care of each other and the planet. And I'm naming it. I don't know if anybody else will follow me, but I've been naming it the age of helpfulness. And some people call it a golden age or whatever. Yeah, whatever it is. If we're taking care of ourselves and we're taking care of the planet, then you can call it whatever you want. But
Age of family? The age of family?
Family, that's good.
Yeah,
Yes, well, we're all one
the
family.
galactic family. The age of the
Yes.
galactic family.
Yeah, as long as we're doing it, we're taking care of each other and stop killing each other. That's one of my stated goals.
Each other. Oh my gosh. Yes.
You want to kill people, Bruce? No. Okay. Well, good.
Oh my
Then
gosh.
join the team. We'll stop killing people.
Well, we changed time tomorrow night. Today's Friday. Tomorrow's
Yes,
Saturday.
you're quite right. Yes.
So
yes.
What's that?
then we change time. We go into daylight savings time.
Oh, really?
Saturday through
Okay.
Sunday. So
Yeah, we're back to where we were a few months ago,
Yeah,
which was
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Before October, Stan.
And I'm going to hop
Oh,
off
there
now
already?
because it's 8
We're
o'clock.
not
Yeah. So
Knowing
yeah,
I need
the phone just
it's messed
automatically
things.
turns over, so I just don't even think about it too much.
No, but it messes
Yeah.
things
My
up when one
phone
portion of the
automatically goes
world,
to the right time, and so I
when one
just don't worry
portion of
about
the
it.
world changes, but not the other. So,
Mm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah. Okay, well, I'll see you next week. Right?
Okay, see
Okay.
you Monday.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Wait
what
a
we're
minute,
doing
tomorrow- no,
tomorrow, but
today's
there might be
Friday.
somebody here at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, no, I won't because it's Easter weekend and
All
there's
right.
just too much going on.
Uh-huh.
I
So,
might be, Stan. I keep saying that, but last week there was a sudden thing with Chaunder's stuff,
well,
so I
that's
couldn't
it.
come
You
last.
don't know. Yeah.
I'll
What's
try-
Yeah.
I'll-
on Monday?
I'll-
Well,
What's
and
next?
I haven't heard from Shannon. It's she's sort of the driver
Moving.
of that process. And she's in the middle of her move. And yesterday she had to take off to do something for her mom. And maybe it's all better that we just don't. And I have to work on the taxes. My wife keeps reminding
Oh,
me, when are you going
yeah.
to look at that tax?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did Jim mention what next week is next week also?
Yes, it's going to be run by Tom.
Mm.
Eddington, and Jim
Mhm.
is going to be watching, but he's not going to be speaking. And I'm not sure exactly why that it is, why he can't speak, but
What
they
topic?
He's away. He's
No.
somewhere else.
he could be there if they wanted him, but Tom Eddington and the other fellow that's running whatever they're doing is not invited Jim to be on the show.
Okay,
They
you don't know what the
uninvited
topic is,
Jim
do
to
you?
be on the show, huh?
You don't know what the topic is, do you?
I heard it, but it didn't stick.
Okay.
So, and
Yeah.
I'm sure I think it's already posted on YouTube.
Oh,
So
I can find it out. I know that. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
already there. So at least that's what I seem to hear from Georg,
Mm.
that the listing of next week's episodes are there, and I'll be setting up my day pages for next week, and we'll see. So that's what I find out. Problem is, even when I do that work and I see all these things and I put it all into other networks, I still don't remember it.
Well, you
Somebody says,
can't.
"What's the topic?" Oh, I don't remember. I have to go look it up.
You've got too much in your head already. You
Yeah,
can't.
that's it.
can't
Well,
figure
yeah.
something.
I actually think that there's something going on within me that benefits from not remembering all this stuff.
Yeah,
The only thing that I regret is I don't remember my children's childhood.
right.
And
Yeah, but you
so,
said you were probably away most of the time anyway.
well, I mean, I was working, yes.
Yeah.
And that's
You
sad.
can't regret that because you can't change it. So you can just make
No,
up for it.
well, I just it would be fun to at one time for 3 or 4 days, I was writing down into a journal what the kids were saying about their dreams and stuff. And I really, looking back at those, there's only 3 or 4 pages. Looking back at that, I really regret not continuing because it was so much fun for me just to look at those 3 or 4 pages of what they were saying at the time. And kids were 4 or 5 years old and telling me stuff, and I should have continued writing down what they were saying. And
That's hindsight,
But
isn't it?
yes, of course.
doing it should doesn't actually serve anything.
I know. Yes.
It's a waste of your energy, and it lowers
it
us
is.
doing that.
Yes, I
Regret.
know. You're not the only one that yells at me for stuff like that. Shannon says, "Don't talk about it like that." Okay.
No.
Yeah,
fine.
can I say something about regret? I've
Yes, you
healed
may.
a lot. Just want to mention that I've healed a lot from that regret. Like you're talking about, I should this or I should that.
Uh-huh.
We're dealing with this sort of cosmic plan, this universe, like this bigger plan that
Yes.
none of us are fully in control over. Everybody's a part of.
Yes.
Then why regret really much of anything? If we look at that, ties in with
Well, it's
psychic
an
phenomena.
emotion. Okay. It's
What's
an
that?
emotion. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. And
Well, it ties in with psychic awareness too, because you start to get aware and see all these see the synchronicities and see the things. Okay, yeah, I can see why that happened. I learned this from that. I learned that. Oh, I could see why this,
Yeah.
and to the point where you just even turn on a video and you're like, yep, that is exactly what I am experience, like thinking, feeling, and feel that the cosmic awareness is thinking and feeling that too, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like you're in touch. and you got
thing
this
for
with it, you're
me
flowing with it or whatever.
is
Then
Yeah.
you actually look at that video. I mean, you just turned it on. This has happened to me. You've just turned it on. Then you look through, then you stop and you test it and find out, okay, did I truly hear for this? Is this really this amazing video as I think it is? And then you turn it, you just, and then you actually turn it on and watch it all the way through and realize, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking and feeling before I actually found out consciously what's in that video.
Okay, well,
So
what happens for me is I sit at a dinner table with my family, and the kids and my wife are talking about stuff that happened. And then they start doing the pee in the nose thing, shooting peas at each other, and I have to get up and leave.
Why?
Well, because it just bothers me that they could be so silly. And I don't know why that is, but that's the way it is. And then if anybody tells a joke about anything, I have to say, why is that funny? And so I'm famous for not getting jokes.
yeah.
I'm going.
So
Love you all. And,
Okay,
I've
bye-bye.
got to go.
2 others here
I've
that I've got
got to
to
go.
get to. So
I need to
have a
eat.
good weekend.
okay, bye-bye. God bless
Happy
you. Bye-bye.
Easter. Happy Easter.
More like ET, bless you. Bye-bye.
I need to
Bye.
go.
Really?
I'm gonna see if I can get Chat GPT to help me with this summary I have to write up.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
guys.
take
Love you
care.
guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Bruce. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Bruce, I have a question.
Okay.
Not Bruce, Stan, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Why isn't this whole humanity rising and what you're doing not representing about 3 billion people in the world, the Hindus and the Chinese? I'm sure there's a lot of synchronicity going on among them, as it were.
Yeah, and there's not very many
Talking about
African Americans here
intergalactic
either.
communication. We can't even speak with the great majority of people on this little planet we live on.
Right.
Okay, we're
Yes, and
clueless
it's
about
not-
that. We're truly clueless.
There's not a lot of Black people here either, and Native Americans. So yeah, this is an English language, white people kind of mostly retired people kind of hang out.
Yeah, I mean, and so you wonder why I don't participate a lot, because I spent many years of my life living in Asia, and I know there's a hell of a lot going on there of great interest.
Well,
A lot of
we have
brilliant people.
we have people from there as well, Frank, talking
some.
on
Well, not too many, and certainly that their perspectives are not represented, and they don't bring much to the group.
Well, there's 8
Well,
billion people on the planet, and we can't represent all of them all the time. So we can do what we do, and hopefully we'll be useful. That's my criteria. Are we going to be useful at some point in the future?
I think you can find connections just within the human experience or within more like the ET experience.
I'm not saying this to put down. I'm just trying to be kind of non-judgmental and open to what's going on. But so much of my life
whenever you do
spent over
come,
there.
you add something to it, and so that's great.
See the figure behind me on my screen?
Yeah.
That's the Maitreya Buddha.
Yes, but
Now
that's
he's
Buddha.
living in outer space. He's living in Tushita heaven, and he's contemplating what's going on Earth. That's what his 2 fingers on his cheek, thinking,
really?
when should I come down?
Yeah.
Deal with
That's true.
this troublesome humanity.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because
I feel like I've
he's
heard
the coming Buddha,
from,
you know?
yeah, I feel like I've heard from extraterrestrials. This is, I'll just call it the Galactic Council. I don't really believe it's the Galactic Council necessarily, or have a vision in my head or anything else, but the words that I feel that can resonate with a ton of people, if they have any, understanding about this stuff, is we're in council for your planet.
Mm. Mm.
We're in council for your planet.
Yeah.
If there are extraterrestrials, they would be connected with us. And I wonder if part of that DNA connection could be give us some enlightenment about that. I would love your opinion. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I would love your opinion on it.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, Frank? Well,
Yeah, Frank.
I don't have any opinions per se. I mean, I don't know enough to have anything of incontestable to contribute to us all. I just feel like I can't even communicate with my neighbors who live 20 and 30 feet away from me, let alone communicating with people from outer space, beings from outer space. And
what if
what
they're
language would
communicating with us?
what language would they be speaking? Why would they bother to learn English? I mean, when we don't even bother to learn the languages on Earth.
But if they are, then they would be realizing, they would already know us, and they would realize that there was some hope there. You ever heard that U2 song?
I don't know. That's projection.
I know I'm not a
I don't know.
hopeless case.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, they would probably be communicating with the huge computer network we have of artificial intelligence
Oh, sure. Yeah,
here on Earth,
could
and they're
very
going to
well
be.
true,
It's going to be.
because
They're going to be computing in computer language. Speaking.
yeah, because of that large language model, and that's such a huge language model that it kind of embodies all the history of mankind and the communication of mankind within the AI label or title. If you know what I
have the
mean.
intelligence to communicate with that. I can't even remember high school math, let alone. I mean, the super PhD level of computer scientists who are dealing with
Right.
AI.
I mean, well, I don't think, I mean, we wouldn't kind of be killing each other and stuff and have money and dumb stuff like that if we were all that smart.
Yeah, but not very smart, unfortunately.
What? What is that? What did you
Very smart. I mean, is that something that's incontestable? Is that a statement that's incontestable? That's we can take from this 4 hours, 5 hour session we've
that
had.
we're not all that bright?
Frank,
But maybe
Frank,
collectively together, AI, we are.
Frank.
Yes.
Have you seen the Kogi prophecy video?
Cody? No, I don't think
Kogi. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, okay.
And for you, Lauren, as well. I don't know whether you've seen it, and you can watch it because it's really worth watching.
What is it? I'd like to see it. The fountain?
It was.
No.
Yeah, it's only, I put underneath what it is. It's only 4 minutes long, but it's very, very powerful if you watch it on a computer, because it's about. It was released in December last year for exactly this time, and you can watch it. It's very, very meaningful at the moment.
Okay, what's it about? What is
Yeah,
it? What's the message? Kind of,
I'm the mother. If you don't
it's from
stop screwing with my world, I'm going to do something.
Yeah.
I'm the mother. You should help.
prophecy.
If you don't,
the mother bear you don't mess with.
right.
Exactly.
Well, that's what it says.
In charge.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you watch it? It's very, very good. I keep giving it to it. And apparently somebody was saying that most of the leaders of the world have seen it now.
Really? Really?
Yeah, that's how
Hmm.
how
And what do
important
they
it is.
think?
It's an indigenous. Well, we don't know, do we? Because they're responsible for all this. It's an
They haven't said
indigenous.
anything. Yeah.
Anyway, watch it, Lauren, and let us know what you think next time.
Okay. I'll do
And
that.
Frank.
What's the, what's
right.
the Gogi process, what's Gogi,
No, no. Kogi starts with a K.
Yeah,
Kogi.
it's
Do you see
underneath. It's underneath the link for the video. I put it there in the chat.
By the
If you
Gogi.
not looked at,
I
if you
got it.
looked in
Yeah.
the chat, Frank, I put it in there for you in the chat for you to
We
copy.
can download this chat. It's too much for me to write.
No, you can copy the whole of the chat by highlighting it, Control and A, and then Control and C, and how do you normally copy anything?
Right.
Well, I mean, the chat, you can copy it by just saying copy the chat. There are 3 dots for that purpose, but I
Yeah, but
mail
they're
it
not
out
there.
every day. I think, Frank, you probably are on my email list. You get a mailing from me every day?
I
Frank,
get them not every day, but I seem to get them a day late.
Well,
So
that's what they're
always
for.
miss-
They're after the fact. They're the ones that come from Zoom and from Humanity Rising are the announcing the day, and mine is a summary of the day.
Frank, if you
Yes.
click on the right click of your
Yeah, no,
mouse,
I have to save it somewhere. So it's
yeah.
where am I gonna save it? I have
So
to
if
save.
you- well, a Word document or something, then you
Yeah.
can click on it again.
Lauren,
or in
do
an
I have your email? Do you get my
Yeah.
messages every
let me
day?
see. Let's see here. Here we go. I am venusfreedom@gmail.com.
Okay, and that's why you have a free Venus in the background?
Yeah, probably. Venus
putting it-
actually did refer to the Venus project at the time, but also like as the association with the planet.
Okay. And do you care to let us know your last name? You don't
Yeah,
have to.
Todd, Todd.
Okay. I won't remember if you don't
Yeah.
write it down, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, here we go. Lauren Todd. Here we go.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my married name, not my maiden name.
Uh-huh. Whatever you want. I mean, I mean, there's at least one person here that refuses to capitalize her first name.
Oh,
And I don't know why. And she promised maybe to tell me why one of these days.
oh no, I think I
Because I'm
want people
fussy
to.
about when I
Well,
record a whole database full of stuff, I want it to be somewhat uniform and make some sense. And I don't even know why I do that, but I do it. And do a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know why it's being done, but I'm hoping that maybe 100 years from now, when we look back on this time, what I'm doing with Humanity Rising will be useful to historians.
yeah,
Maybe.
because all of this will still be kind of in the cloud
Yes.
since it's being recorded. All
Unless
of
the
it will
cloud
be.
goes away. I mean, it could possibly be that the whole thing disappears. We had the far vision, far viewer gentleman on, and I watched some of his other videos, and he talks about asking his 1,000 or so far viewers
Mhm.
about the future, and
Yeah.
he asked them, well, what's going on in the Soviet Union? And they said, it doesn't exist. What do you mean it doesn't exist? This was in 1973 he's doing this, and
Mhm.
it still existed then. But they told
Yeah,
him it doesn't
I
exist anymore. And he was like,
I
well,
think
Mhm.
I felt for a while that China and Russia would be the next thing, because China doesn't want Russia taking over them like he's taken over Ukraine.
okay.
That's just a feeling, and I go all shivery when I feel that. I keep getting that feeling from somewhere.
That China and Russia will have a fight.
Yeah, and
Okay,
China will
well,
win.
Of course it will.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
They have
Sure, one of-
unbelievable discipline. And the they master groupthink.
Mhm.
They're unbelievable,
Well,
and
they
they get great pleasure out of being with one another.
Yeah, they do, and they're very quiet at the moment. They're the quietest country in the world at the moment, aren't they, if you think about it?
Yeah.
Very interesting times coming.
Mhm. No, very interesting times here now. Thank you.
I know, but coming it
And it's going to
even
come
more
it's going
so.
to keep on coming, and it's going to get more and more interesting. And I do believe that we will end up taking care of it ourselves and the planet. Those of us that are left
Well, we're going to
after
see.
Mother Earth decides to destroy
Yeah,
not
we're-
70% of the planet.
Mm.
Yeah, that's part of what the prophecy included. Well,
They won't
Mother
destroy
Earth saying that
They won't
Well,
destroy.
we've had an amazing ability, for some reason, we've had an amazing ability to resist what, and now I'm going to sound like a preacher, okay?
Okay,
But
go ahead.
we've had an amazing ability to resist the light, the revelation, the evolution that's trying to happen. You
Uh-huh.
know, we've had an amazing ability to resist that. I think the biggest
Yeah, but
one of the
it's-
big questions is why, but I'm not going to go into,
Mhm.
asking too many questions right now. Like, just kind of wrapping it up,
Well,
but
Right. Well,
it's like
the statement.
I have a
ability to
theory
resist
about who
it
controls the
greatly.
world and what's going on, and I hesitate to put
Yeah.
it into a recording.
Well, it's all, yeah, it speak the truth. I mean,
Yes. Did I stop the recording? I think I should.
No, you didn't. You probably need
All
to
right.
now. Yeah.
Stop recording.
Okay.